Hi, my name is Amani Ward and I am an Ambassador Scout of Troop 6099. And this is my Gold Award project called Starting the Conversation to bring awareness to sexual assault, sexual harassment, and sexual peer pressure in society now. And what made me go about wanting to do this project is because I read this book called Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. And it's about this character who was raped at a high school party, and the whole story is going through how she's so depressed about the situation and how she's not speaking up about it and not telling anyone because she believes that no one's going to believe her or they're going to think whatever they want to think. And it made me feel like there's people out there that are just like this character, and I want them to know that they're not alone in this situation. And I want this video to bring awareness to all of this because I want it to help parents to talk to their kids about this, teachers, administrators, and counselors to talk to students about it, and for kids that are my age to know that this can happen to them if they're not careful enough to know the signs that it can happen. I hope you enjoy this video. Like it, share with your families and friends, and thank you for watching.
As people get older, they get exposed to more mature things that they shouldn't be exposed to, especially at my age, 15. They shouldn't act the way that they act.
Social media and just kind of the world we live in today, everything is very sexualized. It's kind of what's in and what sells.
I have been exposed for since elementary school and middle school and high school. It's a lot.
Thinking of girls as sheep. They're docile, they're subtle, they're innocent, and they're befuddled. And so when you think of that, you think of on the other spectrum, the boys are like wolves. And not all boys are like wolves, but boys are like wolves in that sometimes they're deceiving, and they're tricksters, they're cunning, they're manipulative, and they say just the thing that girls want to hear. I look at them as the wolves and the girls as the meat because we're so trusting as girls, and we want to hear those things and we believe those things.
Unfortunately, in this day and age, I think through television and movies and social media, our kids are introduced to sexuality much earlier than I think in the past. And so unfortunately, I think it's causing many of our kids to grow up a little too soon.
There's so much that's sexualized, especially even in children's movies and stuff like that. And I think social media has made it even more broad.
It's been normalized so much, like I said, if you don't do this, then oh, there's something wrong with you. Or if you don't do this, oh, no one's gonna want you. Or if you don't do this, then you're gonna be, you're never gonna have a boyfriend, or you're not normal, or etc., etc.
Going into high school, you go into an environment where there's a lot more people around you, a lot older people who are more mature than you are and probably have experienced things that you haven't being a younger person.
And I think it increased because as we get older, who we are in our teenage years can become amplified as we reach adulthood. And college is one of those atmospheres where just because you get more responsibility, that doesn't necessarily mean you know how to handle it.
Is more likely to be the aggressor, but it's important to note that boys are most influenced about losing their virginity and having sex at an early age because they're taught or told that it makes them a man, and therefore it'll cause them to put the pressure on the girl.
And I want to preface it by saying not all boys are this way, but teenage boys typically rather have a sexual relationship than just a committed relationship. And that's natural, and I will say that's very natural. At this age, boys and girls are both trying to explore their sexuality, so it's very normal. But boys tend to take it a little bit further. They want to see how many girls can I have sex with, and it becomes a game. No does mean no. And I think I refer back to John Oliver. He says, consent is like boxing. If two people don't agree, that means one person has committed a criminal crime. So no is just that. And no does not mean try to convince me. No means no.
It's not how one should be treated, and I know like no one wants to be treated that way. There's like a respect level that they cross that shouldn't be crossed.
If they do something like this, they are not mentally aware of what they were doing.
Sexual harassment, sexual assault is a serious thing, and that hurts people. People kill themselves over that.
It can cause them to be depressed, withdrawn. It can cause bad grades and negative self-esteem. Suicide, definitely. When a person feels like, again, they're being forced to do something that they don't want to do, it can lead to suicidal thoughts, ideations, drinking, and even risky sexual behavior that can lead to pregnancy.
You know, the thing is, our children depend on us as adults to provide the leadership and the guidance. There's so much that we pick up on in social media, on TV, and they may look good, but they're not always good. It's so important that our adults, we first listen to our children. We need to understand what their feelings are. And we can't be so quick to jump to conclusions. A lot of times we just need an open ear. And so if we don't have those conversations, the consequences could be fatal.
First of all, you have to have that relationship with your child to be able to have a conversation with them, to talk about sex, number one. And then the peer pressure is that, don't let anyone be able to pressure you. And I say pressure, meaning always asking you questions and asking it the same question over and over again to be able to make them want to do something that they really don't want to do. Parents need to be able to be open and honest with their kids, number one, in order to have that conversation about sex and anything else when it goes to peer pressure from sex to drugs or whatever the case may be.
What do you want your child's end game to be? Do you want them to learn sex from a school perspective or everybody's doing it perspective? That comes into some of philosophical and religious beliefs, depending on what that parent decides to do. But they have to really make a commitment to be consistent. Number one, transparent. And don't allow it to be a taboo subject, which means they may have to come to grips, husband and wife household come to grips with what they want the end game to be.
I think first step is always talk to an adult. We tell all of our teachers in the building and all of our students, have an adult in the building that you are comfortable with. It can be one of your teachers, it can be your advisor, a counselor, it can be an administrator, just somebody that you feel comfortable going to and saying, I've got to talk about this.
I would say first find a safe place. And after you've found a safe place, find someone that you can communicate this to.
Ask them first with a question. Like, let them initiate the conversation first, and then try to go from there and talk to them about it. And try to lead them down the right path to the right way to doing things like that. Because you don't want to see someone you care about or someone you love go down the wrong path, because then that hurts you ultimately, if you care about them or not.
My friend wasn't comfortable speaking up to anyone, or she was scared to tell people or tell a trusted adult or an administrator or whoever. And because that's something very serious, and you never know what it can lead up to. Like, it can start off small and it can lead up to something big. And if you didn't tell an adult or whoever that, that you felt like you could tell, then something very big or something could go wrong, and then you're going to regret not telling anyone.
I have already had to do that multiple times. They didn't feel comfortable standing up for themselves, and I knew that it was wrong, and they thought that if they had spoken up that they would be abused, and they felt like if they stood up for themselves that bad things would happen, so they just thought that they should keep quiet, but they told me, and I reported it. People should learn how to respect other people, and this goes for anyone and everyone, no matter how old you are.
Talking about it can't make the issue worse. It's only going to bring it more to light and help it.
I definitely say because it would take the quote-unquote stigma off the away from the conversation. And when we educate people, anytime we're educated, we feel empowered. And so getting that conversation started with parents, educators, again, it just empowers people and educates people.
That your body is your body. Nobody is supposed to touch your body. Even going through middle school, elementary school, middle school, and high school, that your body is your body and nobody can touch your body but you.
I think the first and I guess most important thing I would tell them is to find your identity. Because people who don't know their identity use things that unfortunately is portrayed by society to fill that type of a void. But when you approach a scenario like that, already knowing who you are and you have a firm foundation of what you believe in, I think that can protect you from that.
I would say the most important thing is to know who you are. Know who you are in nature. Surround yourself around good, positive people. And most of all, respect yourself. And make sure that you're in a surrounding where you're protected. And know that if you get caught up in a position that you're uncomfortable with, it's okay to remove yourself without guilt, without frustration. So make sure that you set a goal where you're always respected. You typically hear a lot of people say, you can't command respect. I beg to differ. You can command respect. You have two options. You can either address the situation or you can separate yourself from the situation. So to avoid being a prey, know who you are in nature.